All right, folks, what is up? Welcome on a wonderful Wednesday hump day, guys. We've made it halfway through the week already. It's been amazing. We got some wonderful people already in the house. Hello, Mr. Dr. ELO. Let's say it that way. Oh, you sent a submission. Well, we'll have to hold that on for tomorrow. We filled ours for the day. We got a few of them we're going to get into, but yes. Hello, Yolanda. Thank you for tuning in, of course. And Monique, how are you doing? So hello, all you wonderful people joining in, and Mr. Christopher G. Johnson. I wish I had that boisterous voice to be like talking right now. Like how I can't even do it. I try. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. So if you're checking us out for the first time, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go over there to the Gabe Little Experience or to www.youtube.com/the Gabe Little Experience. Like and subscribe to the channel while you're there, and hit the notification bell. It will let you know whenever we are live, whenever we schedule new lives, and whenever we drop new content on the channel. So there you go. And Mr. Phone Bill's in the house. How are you doing, guys? All right. And of course, we are streaming on our favorite platform, folks, LinkedIn. So if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, thank you so much. We got some wonderful people on the LinkedIn platform who tune in here, and you know, they're amazing. They come here just about every night and add so much to the broadcast. So thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, Miss Sweta, that was wonderful. She had a TikTok live today. I just joined in and was doing shenanigans like I always do. But she was talking about something I talked about very recently on another show with my buddy Marcello Arcelay. We were talking about, oh gosh, now is it quiet quitting? That's what it was. You need to go check it out. Yasim, how are you? All right, guys. If you're checking us out live, thank you so very, very much. And of course, guys, if you want to go check out our swag store, we do have our swag now available. You can go check us out on our Impro Media swag. There you go, folks. No one has swag like us. So check us out over there on our Impro Media swag. We got awesome cups, hats, shirts, stuff there all the time. Support the broadcast. Thank you, Dr. ELO. There's a reason you were a good moderator. Appreciate you. So you can check us out over there on YouTube. You can go check it out. And all the cool kids are here. Yes. So yes, go check out our media store. Our Impro Media swag store. Appreciate it, guys. Love it. And of course, we also are streaming on our afterwards. I stream to our Discord channel, so I go over to Discord, and you can go check us out over there. That's right. You can go check us out on our Discord channel over there. I go hang out there after the live shows. Hang out there 15-20 minutes, have a little Q&A, open conversation session, want to connect. So head over there, check it out. It is awesome. Thank you guys again so much. And of course, thank you to you. And yes, we were quiet quitting. That was the whole theme of the show today. So you can go check that out. It was a great TikTok, great stream. So there you go. And the Inky Black design over there at our shop. Check out our swag. It is awesome. And of course, our Discord. Thank you, Dana, for adding that in there. We will be there immediately after the show. So thank you. Oh, and checking us out over on YouTube, Mr. Walter Strong. So there you go, man. We got people on YouTube watching as well. And guys, much love to Miss Fellows and the wonderful team over at Inky Black. They're the ones who designed my Impro Media swag, my logo. They do a lot of things for me. So we're going to show them a little bit of love like we always do here. So all right, so there you go, guys. Go check out the Inky Black design team. It is wonderful what they do for you. And saludos, my friend. Thank you for stopping in all the way, I believe, from Arizona. So, all right, guys, let's get started with our newest segment, our joke of the day. We had a really good couple of submissions today, made a post about it. So going to be doing this every day. So if you guys want to go participate in our joke of the day, you are more than welcome to. And there you can submit your joke to gabelethan@gmail.com, or I will be doing a daily post. So if you want to go check that out, drop in your favorite jokes. We had a couple of good ones today. So I'm going to share some of those with you guys. Here was our first one. This was turned in by Mr. Ben Curie. There you go. Why did the Scarecrow win the Nobel Prize? Because he was outstanding in his field, folks. So there you go. A little love for Ben. Thank you for tuning that in. I had another one that was coming in from our very own Bobby Umar. So his was a bit of a joke pun, but did you hear about the one about the orange juice factory worker who got fired because he couldn't concentrate? So there you go. Give him a nice rim shot there. And of course, our winner for today was tuned in by Mr. Justin Lemon. I love this one. This one made me giggle. So his was a little bit more fun. I just had fun with it. So my wife told me she met a man the other day with a wooden leg named Jerry. And in response, I had to ask, what did he name the other leg? Give him a little love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And our winner for today's joke of the day, Mr. Justin Lemon. You are now entered into our drawing for swag. So there you go, guys. If you want to participate, you can, again, put your submissions to our joke of the day. There you go, gabelethan@gmail.com. We would appreciate it so very much. So there you go, folks. Our joke of the day. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So glad that we could have a little fun. So yeah, we have some fun people in the comments, of course, having their barbs. Hey, you know what? You have a joke, put it in there. We will submit it. And then, if you want to participate, you might win some swag out of the whole deal. So Don, thank you. Do you have socks? I don't know if he has socks, but that'd be interesting. Okay. There you go. Yes, monetization at its finest. We're doing our best here. And Jeanette, thank you for tuning in. Of course, appreciate you being here and turning in for the show. I should have actually read and commented on the post. I tagged you in it. So if you want to, tomorrow there'll be another post. If you want to participate in the Gabe Mills, that is my OnlyFans. Please do not share my OnlyFans there. Please. Okay. All right. Let's get started with this evening's guest, guys. I first met this awesome individual, of course, through one of our live streams. I was actually producing a 24-hour live stream for, it was, please don't shoot me, Jason Leibowitz. Connection over convenience. It was, my God, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I produced a 24-hour live stream, and the whole idea was to put together all these hosts and guests. And this wonderful individual started to follow the stream and was commenting. So I invited her to join, and it was fun to actually see new people join in. I mean, not only did this woman show up here for the first time, really again, highlighted what she has become, but then there was people like Nancy Burrows who have had on the show, other people that were kind of involved with that. So it was really great. And I'm glad to have seen this woman sort of just start shining for herself. So guys, give a wonderful, wonderful round of applause and welcome for this evening's guest, none other than Miss Gehan G. And I don't want to get this, Haridy-Ardanowski. You're going to have to tell me how to pronounce it, but I'm going to just bring you in so you can tell. I always get your last name. Sort of. There you go. Let's give you some applause. Welcome, G, to the show. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's get the name first out of the way because we both are G's here. So we can just call each other G. Or yes, double G. Double G. Well, yes, Jacob, the Double G show. This is what you're watching. So,
my God, the double G's, double G's, baby. Oh my God, Jacob. This, Gabe, first of all, to get the name out of the way, thank you for giving it a great stab. And you were actually pretty close. It's okay. Gehan Haridy-Ardanowski.
Okay.
It's Gehan Haridy-Ardanowski. I go by G for short, as I always say, obvious reasons, right? And so, yeah, I always gone by G. Although my nickname has always been Gigi. So even in my adult years, go figure, even on this platform, when people learn of my Gigi nickname from my youth and my early 20s. People prefer Gigi over anything. Like, I'll just call you Gigi. I'm like, or Jeej.
Or Jeej.
So just, yeah.
And,
so, yeah.
hey,
So G Money, G Fro, the works.
The works. So awesome. I'm glad that I get to have you here because number one,
Thank you.
we've been connected for a while and there's so many similarities. Number one, here's the funny part. We're like in the same Metroplex area. So at some point, before you have to like relocate or whatever, we should meet. And I know that you had met with, one of our other guests that we had on last week, Mr. Kevin D. Turner, who's another awesome individual, who is again another Dallasite or area Metroplex friend. So it's cool that we are all in this same little area, and there's so many wonderful creators here, especially on the LinkedIn platform, that are here. And it's awesome that we are so in proximity. I guess greatness kind of just tends to cluster together, don't you think? I think it would be.
I agree. And XXO Connect, I think is what you're trying to say.
That's what I said. Don't shoot me, Jason.
Jason, we love you. Jason Leibowitz, we love you.
Yes. Please don't shoot me, Jason. I produced it, and maybe it was because I got fog brain that day, being up 24 hours trying to produce.
That was an amazingly insane show. And I still remember do you want me to give you the quick refresh of why this was so?
Yes.
Okay, let me refresh your memory. So I had been tuning in and out and had seen a couple of different portions. Of course, Chantel, the lovely, amazing Chantel.
Yes.
And Anna Morgan and Nancy and a few other people, had, shown up and done their spiels throughout.
Yeah.
Just amazing conversation, all spearheaded by Jason Leibowitz. You produced, and I was just an audience, sounding in comments. Hey, amazing stuff, everyone! Loving the stories and the energy, etc., etc. And then by the time that Sunday morning, about 5 a.m. rolled around, because I am a morning person, but yet tonight I'm here with full-on shine, Gabe. Yes. It's the energy that you give off.
Thank you.
And again, it's magnetic, it really is. It draws people in. So, but yeah, by 5 a.m., I want to say it was around that time when you were just starting to pull people. And I remember DJ, of course, DJ.
Yes.
Our girl DJ, she was there too. And you were just like, hey, here's a link. Come join us. Come join the live. And I'm thinking, what? I'm in my robe. And I remember, I'll never forget, I said to you, I'm like, give me 2 minutes. I did not even stop to think. I just said, wait, I'm in my robe. I'm in my study. And this is, again, pre-lighting and some before. So this is the end of 2020 when I still didn't have any concept of a partial studio setup even. But I thought, you know what? I just said yes in the moment. It's like, hey, if Gabe is inviting me, there's something to be said for that. And I just said, give me 2 minutes, tore off my robe, threw on a shirt, came back in, jumped on camera, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever time it was. And I said yes. And after that moment, honestly, I think that's sort of when my mindset shifted to that, say yes, invite whatever comes your way. Because again, what's that expression? I think Rachel Druckenmiller. I think
Druckenmiller,
yes.
That,
I'm mispronouncing. Talk about mispronouncing.
Druckenmiller.
Yes. Rachel Druckenmiller dropped. And she's sensational. I follow her, but I'll never forget. She was on the Who You Know show, and she dropped that gem about an invitation is an indication of a qualification. I believe were her words. I might be butchering it, but to that extent of, hey, you're doing something right in whatever that moment it is. And I've kept that in my mind ever since I saw that about a year ago. Before that, it's that yes mentality. And it's that yes mentality that just draws people to you, Gabe. I mean, we want to show up to see what Gabe's got cooking, and hey, let's be a part of it. You make us all want to be a part of it. So thank you.
I do. I do my best. Because again, that is part of what I do. That is the magic of what I do. People want to know what I do. I find people who, again, want to shine, help them shine, find their light, and help them build their voices. I mean, that's a big part of what I get to do. And I love it that, again, we're talking about, of course, how we met. And this is what this platform is all about. When people, first come here on this platform seeking whatever it is. So if it's a job search, if it's, you know, that's usually most of the time how it starts, but, you know, they find so much so much more. So let's talk a little bit about this platform, because again, this is where, you know, we love to hang out and we've met so many wonderful people. But you know, what was the thing that got you started to not only just to show up, but then to start creating content and, you know, putting yourself out there, to help sort of build your own sort of voice and authority, where now you do the same thing in turn of helping other amazing people. I mean, you again have started your own coaching. We'll go into a little bit more about that, but I mean, how did that start for you that really drove you to say, you know what, I feel like I can make a change, I can make a difference?
Mhm. You know, I want to say it was probably around the time that I lost my job. I was laid off at the onset of COVID. So, you know, again, April 2020,
Yeah.
um, lots going on, you know, in the world, obviously. And so at the time, I just started leaning back into LinkedIn, which I'd been on since 2008. So many years prior. So
Mm-hmm.
about 12 years at that point. So I wasn't foreign to putting myself out there. I'd been networking, I'd found jobs, I'd had many blessings. And to, if you want to call it content creation, I mean, sharing posts
Yeah.
very, very casually, but not the extent to which it's become today. And I think for me, the turning point was when I started to dabble into video. And people kept talking about showing up and, you know, sort of, I guess, getting past whatever it is that we feel about ourselves that is inferior to others. And I just kept leaning more into that and more into that. And that's why the XXO community at the time, I just, with all this vulnerability, and I know that these words are used over and over and over.
Yes.
And I know some people are sick of authenticity, some people are sick of vulnerability, but it is, but you know what I mean? It's sort of like quiet quitting, which
Yes.
I will get into that because I
Yes.
heard that about, don't even get
Yes.
me started on that. That's
Yes.
another thing. And I'm HR, by the way, folks. So if you don't know that
Oh,
about me,
we'll
so
get into it.
quiet quitting, so yeah, quiet quitting. Oh my gosh. But these, again, these terms that sometimes people poo poo, if you will, or become tired of. And I just wanted to start to say, hey, I can do this and tell my story. And I was still a little bit in my shell, but I really think that turning point was when I started to get on camera. I showed up for that live that one time, you know,
Yeah.
with you guys. And I thought, these people like me. I felt like
Yes.
I felt like the mousy nerd at the
Yes.
table with the cool kids, if that makes a shred of sense.
Perfect
And
sense.
I just thought, you all are amazing people. And here I am, a part of this. And I just, since then, I've had nothing but the utmost respect and following for you. And then by extension, the rest of your amazing community, Gabe. I mean, over the past year and a half to 2 years, it's been incredible. And I think having people believe in you and nudge you forward has helped. And that's what it's been for me. And so when I started doing video, and then I started talking about my own story, about, for years and years, I had shamed myself about the fact that, yes, you know, oh my gosh, I had this gap. I had dropped out of, you know, high school for a while and I was ashamed of that, but I ultimately graduated and I mean, life moved on and da 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 da. And I mean, I got past all of that, but a lot of that time for me led into my insecurities, some of which it really took me a long time to get over. Some to this day, it's still, you know, a part of you. And I just wanted to show up to say to people, you know what, we all have something about ourselves that sometimes doesn't, you know, feel that great, but just saying that whatever it is on our minds with the intention of it may be able to help support somebody else going through something. And I don't, and again, there's a lot of discussion as to how much we're supposed to share, not share, you know, what's personal, what's not personal. And I always do so with the intention of wanting to help support versus maybe others who come with different intention. So that's sort of what, you know, I've been doing since, and leaning into just wanting not only to share myself, but hoping that other people can gain something from that and say, I can do that too. So
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
that's where a lot of the power that, again, people talk about, like what, how, like kind of helps them turn their lives around is doing these things like exactly what you're talking about. Um,
Hmm.
because again, for most of us here, it's taken time. It's taken us a long period of time to sort of find, um, that sort of sweet spot for us in our journeys of life, and just figuring out like the things that you've gone through, the whole thing with COVID. and when the pandemic hit, that shifted so much. That really made a lot of people like really open their eyes and pay attention to the world that was around them, where, you know, it might have been my life was too busy, work was too busy, all these other things were too busy, and all of a sudden somebody pulled the handbrake and said, we're going to stop and slow down,
Yeah.
and we're going to check everything out. And it really made people sort of introspectively look at their lives and their journeys and goes, man, this is not where I felt like I wanted to be. And that's where, you know, the people started you. And yes, the sick words, the cyclical words that we use, the pivot and everything, but it's true. There's so
Yeah.
much behind it because there was
Yeah.
something to it. I mean, and the
Yeah.
things that subsequently have followed, like what we're talking about here with the Great Resignation and everything that changed since you are in HR, and you saw exactly how that shift sort of changed the landscape of what people do is in recruiting and HR, and just how everything is handled. I mean, everything has literally been flipped topsy-turvy, and how that is now being handled. And let's talk about this quiet quitting thing, because I'm starting to hear more about what this is. And since you are in HR, let's open up a little bit about your opinions on how you feel about that, because I talked about it last night for the first time. I'm just learning about this here, so you're gonna have to school me. I'm just learning about this myself. Now, I've heard it described as other things, but last night was the first time I ever just really talked about it on somebody else's show. And then I've just happened to jump in a live stream today on TikTok and saw Sweta talking about it. So let's talk a little bit about what quiet quitting, and let people know what that sort of is, for those who are watching who were maybe confused like me.
You know, in full disclosure, I mean, I work in HR, but I have not worked in a traditional office setting in 2.5 years. So it's been a while. So, you know, anything that I hear or have heard about quiet quitting, and I hate to say it this way, and you can educate me, Gabe, because I did not see, and I need to get back on. I need to get more on TikTok, by the way. So
Yeah.
I missed the whole Sweata show. I missed whatever it was that y'all had going on. So I would love for you to enlighten us with that, because I don't know. I think the messaging is that quiet quitting, well, first of all, there's a lot of scoffing, of course. You know, quiet quitting has
Yes.
been around forever. It's just becoming more known on TikTok, which I'm not on TikTok, so I don't really
Yes.
know exactly what has forced that shift, or if there was something that went viral specific to that just opened up this Pandora's, if you will. But yeah, for me personally, because of the fact that I haven't worked in an enclosed office environment, I know of people who throughout the pandemic, you know, obviously it had their own personal shifts and such, but
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing I've been seeing, not necessarily specific to the quiet quitting piece, but it's just remote working, period. And
Yeah.
even in some of the roles that I've been staffing for in project work over the past several months, I mean, the very first conversation I have as a recruiter, as HR, even when I call candidates, just to have a conversation and say, you know, hey, we've got this job, and oh, by the way, it may be, 3 days on site, it may be 4, and people are very quick to say no. It's, and here's the thing with that, if we want to go down that path for a
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
This is just my thought on it, and I've been very vocal in different conversations and different panels and such. For me personally, especially going, currently I'm in project mode, contract work, if you will. I'd never be opposed to, obviously a full time, role. I'm, working on things. I'd love to see something amazing happen for myself full time, maybe. If not contract work, that's part of why I established my LLC. And that's another strategic move, I like to think. But my whole thing with the remote work piece, or workplace, if you will, is I don't have an issue going back on site to a job that I really appreciate. I adore my team and such, but it's having that argument of why being there versus the remote work that's been done successfully to that point. That's where I sort of how I feel about that whole piece. But I'm not opposed to remote, the quiet quitting piece. Again, I'm still trying to understand it, because I've never in my life thought of quietly quitting anything. You either are there or you're not. You're either going to quit or you're not. So I'm still trying to learn that balance. So please
Right.
do share. And
Uh,
and if you were doing something on TikTok, again, like I said, I missed the boat on that. I
no,
missed
no,
the
believe me.
memo. I was not invited to the party. So
No, it was just me tuning in. Well, of course, I was just over there swimming around. But Miss Sweta here, who I'm going to bring in her comment in there, She was the one that was on
Cool.
TikTok talking about that because she goes on there and that's what she is. She's a um, recruiter, sort of specialist, talking about things that happen in Canada. So yes, Dan Roth, if you want to make a Canadian joke, there it is. But anyway, to mention like what she was talking about, um, it's like saying, as say you are in a position where you're in management or you're an employee and you're asked to work double shifts,
Mhm.
and you're like, hey, no, I'm just gonna come work my shift and go home. So there's people that are like quietly standing up and telling themselves like, hey, um, I'm not so much, um, and yes, you are there or you're not, but there's, again, when you are there, um, we talked about this, like people who sort of, uh, excuse me, in the example we were using, we were talking about using sales teams, and people
Mhm.
were talking about how, you have people that carry their weight, and you do have people that sort of go above and beyond. And then when you see somebody who's been that individual, who's been the above and beyond person, start just coasting and start just doing, again, bare minimum things, that you, as a team, you recognize it, the people around you recognize it, and it might be because that person has sort of quietly quit what they were pushing for, because maybe they feel mismanaged, maybe underutilized, whatever the thing is, or not even challenged anymore. Um, so that's why, like, I see what we all went through with the Great Resignation, when people were brave enough at that point to walk away, um, and say, "There you go," and put it in another way. There you go. Quiet quitting is all about setting boundaries, quitting hustle culture, and getting paid for your work. That is it. Just really just explaining what your value is and saying, "I will do this. I won't do this." Um, and there you go. If you're Jacob, oh my God, you're such a funny guy. Okay. It's simple. Treat your true, and it's true. There is part of it. Treat your people better. Um,
Yeah.
and I know it sounds, again, simple, but yet it's something that a lot of employers have to now really look at and understand that it is no longer the employer's game to sort of say, I have the advantage here, because people are now able to sort of say, well, you know what, I've got a skill set, um, and I can use that skill set to go, again, yes, to either be an entrepreneur, to walk away and say, you know what, I'm gonna go start my own LLC, my own business, and go do this on my own, or go find a better environment where I feel I will be best utilized. It will be beneficial for me to be there. And yes, Dan was the one that shared that. It used to be called working to rule. That's what it was, and
Mhm.
how that actually is. So, but it's interesting to talk about, because even though it has been around, it's like a lot of things. A lot of things start becoming more prevalent. They become more front and center when things are starting to happen like it is now. So this culture of people understanding and rephrasing words and using it. Um, and it is an old labor tactic, but that's the whole thing about labor and anything else, anything in life, style, money, whatever you want to call it. All of that stuff there, it's just cyclical, might be rephrased, might be put in another name, but it is something that, again, has been around for quite a while. But I think it has a different connotation now, different meaning than just what has been going on, because, again, it's not like we're talking about the labor unions of the 20s where, you know, uh, fortunes were built on the backs of people because they could. And I think now it's more about empowering the employee themselves and the individual to kind of say, you know what, this is my value and this is what I'm worth.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I've heard it discussed and talked about, and I'm just still learning about it myself. So
Well, you're doing a fantastic job schooling me because I'll be honest. I mean,
well,
it's so funny because I feel like the other night I was in a room about quiet quitting, in an audio room about quiet quitting, simultaneously logging in and reading a couple of posts on quiet quitting, and it just, again, it's everywhere, and I know it's the latest thing, and again, yeah, it's okay. So there's that, but no, I'm not. I'm not very well schooled on it. So thank you for the education. So,
Hey,
but
no,
yeah,
no, no,
it's
that's okay, because again, there's a lot of things that
yeah,
we're talking about here that are
yeah,
um, new to us now. Like even people who are, again, coming here to the LinkedIn platform and learning all this stuff here, and trying to understand how to navigate what this platform has to offer. So I want to talk another thing about what you do. Um, and I've seen you on a few other um, shows talking about this, and this is like what people come here who are searching for one thing and they find another, and they might find somebody like you who helps them sort of prioritize themselves and understand where their strengths and weaknesses are. Right? I mean, that's something that um, you're actually coaching and teaching people now. So what was that for you whenever you first like took those steps to figure that out? I know it's been a while, but I know that it's like anything, you continue education in it and you've sort of become a little bit more advanced and skilled in understanding what that means and how you can apply it to someone else, a client.
no, absolutely. So for those who aren't familiar, what Gabe is talking about
Yes.
is StrengthsFinder or Clifton
Mm-hmm.
Strengths. and and I'll try to abbreviate this as much as I can. So about 9 years ago, I was actually let go from a job. I was a financial analyst, a role that I'd been in for about 2 years and had struggled in. So before I'd ever even heard of Clifton Strengths or Strengths Finder or knew anything about this whole thing, I was in a job, and I have historically I've had an HR background, so I'm nice HR, by the way.
Yeah,
So
she's nice HR.
I'm fun HR. I'm the one with the candy bowl who tries to bribe people to come to my office and sit and talk to me
You want a
because
butterscotch?
I'm
You want a butterscotch? Yes.
exactly. And yeah, so for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why I was in a role that was such a far departure. Which, again, I'd gotten the role. It was with Price Waterhouse many moons ago, and it was a wonderful opportunity. But I wasn't aligned in the right role, and I couldn't figure out why. So I ended up ultimately leaving. And the day that I left that job was the day that I learned about Clifton Strengths and or Strengths Finder, and this was back in July of
Mm-hmm.
2013. So this was 9 years ago. It was a long time ago, and that something just clicked when I started to understand. I went to a networking meeting an hour after I'd lost my job and said, "Hey, I just got fired," or "Oh, I just lost my job," or however I phrased it at the time.
Yeah.
And everyone had this book, and it was all about Clifton Strengths or Strengths Finder. And it basically is based on 34 talent themes, and you take an assessment, it takes a half hour. And what it does, it's not necessarily a personality assessment per se, but it's more about your performance and how skilled you are in certain areas. So not everybody is going to be the greatest at something. So I'll give you a great example of the 34 talent themes. I later came to understand that analytical fell at the very bottom of my 34.
Yeah.
I think it's currently at my very bottom 34.
And it was
So at the
something that
time,
you were working in, right?
exactly. I was a financial analyst. So again, I actually got an HRD degree, not necessarily meant to go into the HRM piece because I'm not driven by numbers. I'm driven more by the people piece, by the training aspect, by more visual, more I guess however you want to phrase it, but versus sit down, stare at spreadsheets all day, which was not necessarily my jam.
Right.
I did it though, and I could do it, fairly well, but it wasn't for me. I'm a generalist, not a specialist by trade. And strengths in taking that assessment, it helped me discover that. So over the past several years, I've been able to speak on that topic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not to just be clear, if anyone's watching, I'm not Gallup certified per se. There's a difference, but
Yeah.
a few months ago, I did become UMAP certified. So basically, UMAP uses the strengths piece as the foundation of that practice, but that basically takes Clifton Strengths and just blows it out of the water. So if you're in a job search mode, career transition, if you just want to gain a better sense of self, it's an amazing assessment. And I'm not a big fan of assessments like pre-employment per se, because I've never been one to want to be knocked out based on an assessment. And Gabe, I don't know
Right.
your historic
That's me.
experience, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, but strengths. I encourage everybody, if you're not familiar, go to to Gallup.com and look up Clifton Strengths. If anyone is out there and happens to drop a link into the comments, please do. But Clifton Strengths, you spend $20, you take your top, you'll get a printout after a 40-minute assessment. You get your top 5 talent themes, and they tell you really, I mean, it's eye-opening, amazing to do. And Gabe, I think have you done yours yet? Have you ever taken yours?
So here's the thing. I haven't.
Uh-oh.
And well, again, and I've mentioned this a few times. I feel the same way about how the predisposition of, say, being ruled out or anything. So I really don't. This is just my personal thing. I don't like assessments.
Yeah, please.
And I've had, believe me, I have tons of people that were in the UMAP system who have asked me over time, and even the lady who wrote the book,
Kristen Sherry, yeah,
right. And I was like, I'm not big on that, or people who use DISC as far as like setting out their assessments there and how that is. I mean, so I'm not really big on them, but I understand. I'm becoming more aware and understanding why people do, because there are a lot of people that don't actually understand it about themselves. So when they take something like this, it helps them sort of pinpoint and understand like how to transition into doing something. So like you said, you were an analyst and you figured out my worst thing is the thing that I'm actually trying to make a living in. That's not going to work for me, you know? So I understand the strength behind that and why it's so important to actually do them. So it's not that I don't want to, but I don't want to.
And you know what? That is more than peachy. And, you know, again, I get it whenever I'm asked about assessment. I don't enjoy talking about the topic. I don't want to get into the analytics of assessments. It's just not my thing. It's not a passion of mine. Some people are amazingly aware of them and understand them in and out. It's not me. I appreciate strengths because literally they have served me very well in understanding myself enough to be able to say what I'm good at and not so good at. And I can go into an interview or a conversation and say why I feel this way and why this is coming out the way it is and why this is buried so far down and why we don't want to touch that. So it's very helpful. Again, it's self-awareness, and that's why I encourage it. But it's not meant to be a knockout for anything. It's meant to be empowering is really what it is. So yeah, so that's the story there. But I, again, highly recommend it if anyone's ever interested. This is not a sales pitch, by the way, folks. I'm not pitchy. I think Gabe knows that enough about
No, she doesn't pitch.
know I don't pitch. I'm not good at it. It's probably part of why I would never be the most amazing, entrepreneur, solopreneur in the universe, because I'm just not that person. But yeah, I highly encourage it. So DM me if you're ever curious.
That's right. So you don't have to pitch. We're gonna reframe that. We're gonna advocate for you. So to go check out and follow G, and you can actually go to her website. The link's in the comments, guys. So it's an actual link if you want to go check her out. And please do. I think it would be awesome to take an assessment and figure out what your strengths are. And then if you're needing help or guidance, Ms. G might be able to help you do that. And I think it will narrow it down and make it a heck of a lot easier for you. So now, folks, this is the fun part where we always do this. And we're going to ask our shenanigans question, because we always want to do shenanigans here. It's always what we do. So my question for you here, G, is one that kind of pertains to, of course, who you are and how people know you a little bit. But the question is, would you rather have your hair colored neon, or would you rather have a gold tooth? There you go. And yes,
well,
G Money.
Gold galore, but no, so if it were meant to be a forever thing, it would definitely be a gold tooth. But if it were temporary,
yes,
I have to say I would definitely go with the neon hair. And I will tell you why. Because at one point, I used to have big old afro. Literally out to here. I'd considered shaving my head. I've had my hair in braids. I've had it weaved. I've had all kinds of crazy done to my hair. So nothing is off the table when it comes to my hair. There. So that's why the gold tooth, it's there. But no, let's go outrageous. Let's go big.
There you go. Look, and again, it can be, people actually use that sort of thing as part of their branding. So it might be something else that makes you stand out. It's like, oh, I remember her. Who could forget the neon hair? I mean, look, um, it's amazing. So no, I love that though. And it just, again, it's just another look over the, yes, Miss Anna Morgan. She's had some amazing hairstyles over the years shared, but again, I think it would be interesting just to kind of ask. That's why I like to ask these questions to just see how people's mindsets actually work. So,
Okay, can I flip it? Can I flip
yes,
it? Like, okay, have you
yes,
ever colored your beard? Like, have you ever thought of going like seriously outrageous or done something
I,
really
I've,
insane? Your mustache, anything?
so I've thought about like, so I have lots of grays. For those who don't know, under the hat, the whole thing is. Thank you, Roberta, for tuning in. But I have lots of grays, and I thought about it because it's like when I don't have my hat on, it looks very weird because people go, "Do you color your beard?" I'm like, "No, I don't color the beard. It's just really, for some reason, this is dark, and the rest of me is like peppered, really white and gray. So it's very stunning to, not stunning, but sort of confusing for people to see it, and they go, "Have you ever like wanted to dye it?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, if I am, I'm gonna do it." Uh, Sort of black and white. So I've always thought about maybe doing a white patch right down here.
Oh, sweet. Are you
Down,
serious?
yeah, down the middle, and then just pepper a little bit around here. I mean, I don't know, but yes, Robert, I do want to embrace the gray, and who
Yeah.
knows, my hair, how people grow, and it turns out so funny. I mean, um, like Kevin Turner, like he was on the other night. I used him as an example. I mean, his beard is it's gray, but it's lush. I love it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
that's why I ask him. And then I have other guys who tune in. He was here. There he is. I'm gonna pull up his picture so you guys can see his sort of crazy beard. But my buddy who's been on the show as well, Mr. Chris Hennessy. I mean, his beard is like so long, and it's gray and white and
Yeah.
black. And it's just one of those things where, like, you know what? I feel like I'm missing out on the boat. I want the gray, or at least something in here inside of there, so I can feel like I fit into the club. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Um,
He is very distinct. I do love his beard. I remember the other night when you guys were talking about the beard. Oh my God. That was just crazy.
but yes, and
Yeah.
again, I've thought about it, like saying, hey, you know what? Just do like maybe this small part there, and just make it look different.
Yeah.
Because people can, they know you simply
Yeah.
by those sort of things as part of like what your branding is. So I think who was it? Jay Leno, who had for the longest time that just one black streak inside of all of his hair that was white, and it just stood out. And those things sort of for me are like almost like calling cards that people,
Yeah.
they might not remember your name, but they will remember what you look like and then associate that with. So I've thought
And how
about
you
it.
made them feel.
Exactly. Oh, what is it? Who said that?
Maya Angelou. Maya
Yes, there you
Angelou.
go. Perfectly worded. Um, so that is how I would, if I was going to do it, and maybe I still might. That's always on the table with me. So if you guys see me show up with that white patch, you can always go back to this episode and find the genesis of why. So, but thank you so much, G. Gosh, these shows go by so fast because I've managed them to push them down to almost 45 minutes. So here we are, right at 45. So doing
Wow.
awesome, staying on time. So thank you again, G, for coming on the show. And you know, what is the best way
Thank
for people
you.
to absolutely reach out to you again? And I will drop in after the show all the links to go check out any of your socials, or to go check out your website, or anything that you want to share with folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the easiest way is LinkedIn. I deleted my Facebook account. Why? Because people have started doing it. Like, I just no
Yeah.
more. I'm just done with all that. So, but I am trying to get better with TikTok and IG, and that's another story. So I'm technically on there, but those are not the greatest ways. But I am on Twitter, getting
Yes.
better again. I've
There you
got a
go.
great following on there, but LinkedIn is really my jam. So DM me if you do send an invite to connect. By the way, I've been deleting a bunch of generic riffraff lately, so please, please, please just say, "Hey, Katja and Gabe show,"
So
and I
yes.
would be thrilled and honored to connect. Like, not like no tomorrow. I'm all about community. And that's the other thing I didn't get to say too much of though, Gabe. You have the best community. I love your show. I love everything that you've been doing. You have been working your took us off and building something incredible. I
Yes.
cannot wait to see your book. I saw
Yes,
that
there's more
you're writing a
coming.
book.
Yes, writing a
So
book.
I mean, you're doing it all, man. And I give you many, many props. And I am in your corner. I'm your cheerleader.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me. This is awesome.
Humbles
So
beyond belief.
yeah.
Thank you. So thank you again, everybody. Sit tight for just 1 second, G. Let me wrap up out of here, and then I will send you on the farewell. But of course, for everybody else, thank you for tuning in, guys. You are awesome. I love what you guys are as this community, and just like what G was talking about. You're such amazing folks. So guys, if you're inclined, please tune in tomorrow. We have another wonderful guest lined up. Miss Charlene Brown will be here from Brooklyn Designs, and of course her show that she does, well, she actually does two. She does Sip and Chat with Sari, and then she also does another show with Mr. Caution Watkins. So please, 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 and I need to shorten. Well, I've been accused of having such a long intro. It's just what it is. So there you go. But tomorrow, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time, please tune in. Check out our guest tomorrow evening, Miss Charlene Brown. So again, guys, thank you, guys, and thank you, G, for being here. Thank you again. I cannot say enough of why I do what I do here, and part of it is you guys. You know, again, I've always say this and will continue to say this. You guys are the lifeblood of what I get to do here, and part of the reason why I strive to do so much every single time. So thank you again, guys, for being here, and we will be back tomorrow evening with another wonderful show and another wonderful guest. So until then, guys, you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay blessed, be well, and we will talk again soon. Good night, everybody.